This is Education Matters. I am Kamambogwa, your host, and I have my guest with me, Dr. Tim Mwangi. Dr. Tim Mwangi is the CEO, ELNET. Most welcome, sir. Please tell us more about yourself, about your organization.
Well, thank you. I am currently serving as a coordinator at ELNET. ELNET stands for Executive Leadership Network, and it is a network of leaders in this country, in Kenya, who seek to bring holistic transformation to our society. We recognize that there are many challenges that beset us in various areas, and from a leadership perspective, we felt we could help address a number of them.
Thank you. In our show today, we'll talk about leadership and integrity. And as our guest has told us that they deal with executive leadership, with a view to what's happening in the education sector, I would like to hear your definition of leadership and integrity to start with.
Thank you. Well, leadership, of course, has many definitions, but a simple one that I work with is that basically leadership is influence. Beyond that, we could say that, of course, the character of the leader is critical, or the integrity of the leader, because leadership has to do with trust. Leaders are always moving to people from where they are to where they need to go. And of course, that depends on whether the leader is trustworthy or has integrity to be trusted by the followers.
Correct. And integrity, what's the difference between integrity and leadership? And what's the role of integrity in leadership?
As I said again, it's a critical building block because it's a basis for trust. There's a common saying that people of wealth may be admired by other people, people of power may be feared, but only people of integrity or people of character are trusted. And it is critical for the followership to be able to trust the leader. Whether in the school success and context of education, it could be a teacher with the students, it could be a principal with the other teachers, or with the students, or with the parents. Trust is critical in every context of leadership.
In the context of education matters, we know what's happening in the education sector. We are having some very pressing issues. We have had cases of exam cheating. We have had cases of arson in school cases. Would you please place that in the perspective within the plane of leadership and integrity?
Very, very true. Each of those cases happens because somebody chooses to influence other people in that direction. And I say again, the basic definition of leadership being influence. So how could we help resolve this? Is by having the right influence, if it's on the students, so that rather than them seeing cheating as the only way out, and when they cannot cheat, it has become so bad that they actually even ban schools, how could we show them there is an alternative? And that's what ELNET seeks to do. By actually helping to bring role models in society who are successful without cutting corners, without corruption, because unfortunately it's become now the common norm that people think without corruption, without shortcuts, I can't get ahead. So ELNET seeks to kind of debunk that myth that it is not possible to succeed without corruption.
Please go a little bit into the details and tell us more about who is ELNET.
That's true. ELNET is a group of leaders. We came together in the year 2005 initially, and then more people joined around the year 2008. We had the privilege of receiving some training from a group called International Leadership Foundation. And International Leadership Foundation basically provides training in the area of transformational leadership. And so from there we were able to figure out how could we bring change to our nation, to our society. And we figured 4 areas, especially the area of how we do business as a country. All those transactions. Of course, the rampant issue there is corruption, which is also besetting the education sector. So how could we change from corruption being the norm to doing business ethically? The second area is the area of governance and accountability, and the use of good values there. How could many people struggle with the fact that things sometimes don't go the right way, but the majority don't have anything to do with it. They are waiting for someone to do something about it. We are going to empower the average Kenyan to be a responsible citizen who engages in issues of governance. The third area is areas of mentorship. This is very important in the education sector because of the way values are passed on from, say, the teachers to the children, from parents to children, and so on. So we are committed to the fact that it's important to have a good value system. It doesn't just happen. Traditionally, it happened in the context of the homestead, where you had parents and grandparents and children living all in the same compound. Today is not the case, especially in the urban center. So we have to be intentional if we are to pass on good values to our children. The final area is, of course, wealth and job creation. the education institutions are putting out out of the system, whether it's somewhere upwards of 700,000, I think, from the high school level, and many of these people, unfortunately, are not prepared to either be entrepreneurial or find creative ways to engage themselves. So they are out there frustrated with their certificates. So how might we be able to engage so that we can solve the problem of job and wealth
So
creation?
I want to pick on two areas, mentorship and job creation.
Sure.
I would like to hear more exactly what you have been able to do before and what you're intending to do along those two areas, mentorship and job creation.
Thank you.
Now, maybe you can start as far as the mentorship is concerned. What do you mean when you talk about mentorship? What exactly it is?
That's good. Well, mentor is a name that actually comes from the name of, actually mentor was a person who is an old fable that, when a king wanted to go to war those days, they went for a long time. He wanted to entrust his son to someone who could help him to keep growing because he doesn't know how long he'll be gone for war. And he said something very important to him that I think really should help our education system. He says, don't teach the young man just book knowledge. Teach him the ways of the world. Let him be qualified, not only academically, but in other sectors as well. Let him be able to have life skills to be able to get along in life. So I believe mentorship should help people not only academically, which we do use mentorship or coaching in that context, but also in life skills, that people have what it takes to go through life. It's possible to have an A, from the institutions, but not have be capable of going through life. So I think it's giving young people that value system, outlook, attitude that will help them to be able to be successful in society.
Oh, wow, that's very good.
Yeah.
We will take a short break, a commercial break. When we come back, we'll look at exactly what you have done as far as mentorship is concerned. Thank you very much for now.
Thank you.
Don't worry. Welcome back. This is Education Matters, and I have with me Dr. Mwangi, the Executive Director of ELNET. We are talking about mentorship and the role of integrity and leadership. Could we move on to the element of job creation? Yes.
That's important. In this space, what we observed, because we first of all did, of course, a needs analysis and a context analysis, we found out that although the government has done what it could, maybe as much as a government can do in terms of provision of, say, the youth fund, there are also the women fund, and so on, even funds for maybe those who have disabilities and so on, the uptake has been very poor.
Yes.
I think the national average at some point was 2%. So in any exam, in the College of Education, 2% is a bad failure.
So what
so
exactly?
it's not happening.
Yeah.
So we found out that then the uptake was not there of the funds. So we thought, what do we go behind that and find out what is the issue? So we found out that among other things, there are several, of course, the complexity of factors, the history of loans in this country and so on, and the experience people have had. But mainly, the biggest problem and something we thought we could tackle is the question of the attitudes and the values of the young people. And we felt that although money is at their disposal, until we change their basic underlying attitudes and approach how they view themselves, we are not going to be able to go far. So our commitment is to help, prepare them for this space, in terms of what they can do to be entrepreneurial. When we help them to have good attitudes, and of course on top of that now we layer the entrepreneurial skills. A lot of programs go straight to the skills, but before preparing the person, and so many of them have got the skills, but they're still not doing anything differently.
Certainly, I need to hear more exactly how you are doing that.
Yeah.
But, allow me to change a little bit.
Yeah, sure.
Mentorship.
Yeah.
You have confided in me that you are doing something to do mentorship.
Yeah.
Mwangi.
Okay.
Please let the viewer know what is this.
Okay, very well. ELNET, again, as I mentioned a bit earlier, chose that one of the areas of focus would be the mentorship of young people, to prepare them to be future leaders who have good values. And so far we have trained over 1,500 mentors.
1,500?
Yeah, and we decided that rather than to focus on ourselves directly mentoring, in fact that's what we did at first. It was good for learning, getting the skills and so on, but we realized it would be more effective. You can prepare adults who can be mentors. So think about maybe teachers in schools, parents, in a home, leaders in a community, people even in the context of their faith, places of worship and so on. All these are leaders who can influence other people with their values. So we seek to influence the influencers so that they're able to do that. So, but as we came to around the beginning of the year, when we were thinking about this year, we thought we'd do something a bit more radical, maybe a bit more bold, which is to try and network with a bigger group of leaders. And we thought we would first of all try to influence the younger leaders, right from upper primary, high school, and university. And our vision, what we are calling Nimeamua, is the fuller name is Nimeamua Kuwa Ethical.
Nimeamua Kuwa Ethical.
Yes. The background to that, of course, was around the beginning of the year. You remember the survey by Aga Khan University that talked about how young people admire people who are rich, so long as, even if they know their richness is from, or riches are from corruption.
It's all about money.
It's all about money. Money seems to be the answer to everything in this country, and but not how it is gotten and things like that. The other aspect, of course, now a bit more recently, of course, was the cases like you mentioned of banning of schools. And we are told that a lot of that was precipitated by the frustration that they cannot steal the exams, which had become systematic.
Those are integrity issues.
Those are integrity issues. And then you think about also the product of our education system for the most part. It has been young people who, I interact a lot with business people, who tell me that they actually don't even want to employ fresh graduates because many of them don't have a work ethic. They want money but not work. So they have not, somehow the education system has not prepared the young people to love work, to want to work as a means of earning their living.
So how have you planned this? How you have structured it to achieve what, by when,
now,
who will it involve?
Thank you. As I said earlier, maybe we realize that one of the underlying foundations is to show young people that the way you become successful is through patience and hard work, persistence, but even for us, it's important that they do it the right way, with for long-term sustainability. We have a lot of studies that show that companies and institutions that have become successful are the ones who do things the right way, not the ones who do shortcuts. That can give you something short-term, not long-term. So we'll be bringing about, we have so far identified 10 leaders and 10 businesses in this country. Oh, this should be good news to the viewers. Did you think that there were, did you doubt whether there was anybody who is ethical in this country? There are some. They've taken them through a scientific process of assessment to be able to give them what we call the ELNET mark of ethics. And this is when they attain a very high standard of 80% among, and we talk to different constituencies. If it's a business, we don't talk not only to their customers and clients and the other internal stakeholders. We even talk to the competitors.
What did you call it? The ethic?
ELNET mark of ethics.
ELNET mark of ethics.
Yeah, it's just again another way of entrenching integrity in society by demonstrating that there are people who are ethical and awarding them, applauding them. But we realize that not many of them have become well known because again, even our media tends to look a lot at what is negative rather than what is positive that's happening. So we would like them to come and interact with these 3,000 young people on the 17th of September. And as the young people will actually basically have a chance to ask them questions.
3,000 young people.
It's a very bold attempt. And not just young people, but young leaders. So
what is the age bracket of
9 to 25.
9 years to 25.
25 years. So we think that these are people who are still at a point where they're impressionable in one way. Some of them, of course, are a bit older than the others, but we think all of them are still forming their leadership ethos. Remember, again, our focus is leadership and how we can help impact leadership in this country.
Where are they going to come from in terms of the reach?
Thank you very much. For now, we are working with the Greater Nairobi counties. So Nairobi, Kajiado, Machakos, Kiambu, the ones that are near here. Once we do this one for this year, we hope we can go to more counties next year. But we thought at least let's learn with the Greater Nairobi for now, or the counties around here.
How long will
it's just okay. The initial effort will be a one-day launch, followed by a 1 year of mentorship. The 1 day is where they interact with these leaders to challenge their mindset that you can actually be successful in Kenya without doing things the wrong way. Once we have been able to challenge that mindset, and now we think they'll be willing to learn, then we'll ask them to commit to a mentor who will keep them accountable. While they are going through this mentorship, we'll encourage them to also reach out to another 10 young people. So that now at the end of 1 year, we'll not have just 3,000, hopefully 30,000 who share similar values.
Now that we are on education matters,
yes.
What's the connection between Nimeamua and the schools?
Very well. The key constituencies, of course, are schools. So we actually have reached out to more than 100 schools in Nairobi, the Greater Nairobi, and as I said again, there are surrounding counties, to invite them to come. We think that these kind of young people will be able to be bold, to tell their friends it is wrong to ban schools, to be able to tell them that they shouldn't do things the wrong way or cheat in exams and things like that. So basically we are trying to do this, and the school will be, of course, a very key, or schools will be very key factors here. We hope that they are the ones to experience also the biggest benefits as they get younger people now, leaders, whether prefects, leaders of clubs, or even other elected.
You also like to get the youth at the churches. We are shutting down. We are closing again for the commercial break. But just before you go, any connection with the churches?
We would work with churches or the faith communities, whether churches or other faiths as well. We are open to everyone coming, because partly why we look to the faith communities is because they have been custodians of values. Remember, traditional societies, in the parents and families, you know, the place of faith and worship, as well as, of course, other role models of adults.
Wow,
so we're working with all of them.
With our commercial break, we on Education Matters on Elimo TV. I'm having my guest, Dr. Tim. When we come back, we go more into details and then name and more. Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome back. This is Education Matters. I'm your host, Kamambogwa. You're watching Elimo TV, where you watch and learn. And today we are privileged to have our guest, Dr. Tim Mwangi. We have talked a lot, Doctor, and I want us now to focus on the material day, September of 17th. Did you see that?
It is a very important day.
The venue?
The venue will be the Kasarani, the Safaricom Indoor Stadium, Kasarani. That's off Thika Road. And that's where we hope to host the 3,000 young leaders. They'll be also accompanied by somewhere between 300 to 600 mentors who will be there. Our chief guest for the day is Right Honorable Ekwe Athuro. He's a Speaker of the Senate and a good role model, we think, in this country as a leader, a person of peace who brings reconciliation. And he is actually coming along with some young people himself. So when he heard about this, he was excited about it, and he's bringing along some young people. And that day will help us to listen to these leaders, as I said, who have already gotten this mark of ethics. We have divided the slots into three. Some of them will focus on the issue of ethical leadership. Is it possible to be a successful leader when you're doing it by the rules, the right way? Because again, for many people, they think you must cut the corner somewhere. The second area, and there will be an interaction, so the young people will be free to ask the leaders any questions in this area space of leadership. Secondly, ethical business. Is it possible to be successful in this country when you're paying taxes, paying your workers fair wages? Can you truly be successful? Because unfortunately, many people believe it's not possible. So again, we wanted to see people who have made lots of money in this country while doing it the right way.
The right way,
and the ethical manner. But finally, it's a very sensitive area, the area of family. Is it possible to be a person of integrity on the family area, where, you know, even when you're successful, you know, for many circles, young people have now been discouraged about the issue of marriage because they're not seeing positive role models. They only see people who are not faithful in marriage or who have other things on the side. So we want them to come and see it is possible to inspire.
You said it's a one-day.
It's a one-day event.
One-day event. In the age bracket from 9 to 25,
yes.
I hear you have broken down into three groups.
Yes.
Which are these three groups?
So what we'll do now is that, of course, for those in primary school, we'll use a different section of the hall. They'll be there with their mentors to engage, because the mentors will also be present. Then we have the high schools and the university. But we do have now also a scene for everyone else, professionals and other people, parents who want to accompany their children, they're welcome. And the charges are very fair. We are actually subsidizing, we are raising funds to subsidize so that those in primary school and high school, they'll only need to pay $250, which is not even the cost of actually the event. It's actually a manual, because everybody will get a leadership manual that will help, that they work with now for the next 1 year. So 250 shillings. Then those in university will pay a little more, they can afford 500, and then the rest of us will pay 1,000 shillings.
Yeah. So come back again.
250 for primary school, high school, 500 for university or college age, and then 1,000 for those who are outside of now of school, and the rest of us as parents. And again, the whole idea is to inspire the young people to live differently. We are also hoping, of course, to have media there. We hope Elimu TV will be there and
Elimu
others.
TV certainly there, of course.
To be able to talk to the nation, because the nation only hears negative things about young people. So we also thought this is good for young people, for the nation to hear from young people in different ways who are committed, because we believe that there are some good young people in this country as well, but they hardly seem to get audience or media space.
Right.
So with that day, they will be able to address the media and talk about their commitment. You know, the whole idea of nimeamua kuwa ethical, so we hope they can speak that to the nation.
Please guide us through the expected awardees who receive the ethical, the ELNET ethical mark of ethics.
It's true. We have 10 of them. They span across this country.
Yes.
Different sectors of business. So some of them are, in the non-profit sector. Some are like Mr. Joel Masharia. He's the National Director for Compassion International. It's an organization that spends about $1 billion shillings every year, but they do it with the highest standards of integrity. So it's good to have people like him, saying that he handles all that money, but he is not tempted to divert part of it. There are others in the business sector. We'll have Willie Simons. He's in the ICT industry. Gordon Odundo. He's the CEO at Gertrude's Children's Hospital. We also have Simon Wafubo. He runs a very fast-growing pensions management company or financial services company, NOF. And we also have others, some Jonathan Mwangi is in the oil industry. We also have 2 ladies, so it's not only men. Space for men. Very important. So we have Akinyi Odongo. She's been very much in the media, in the fashion industry, who is said to have dressed the first lady. And that came after her award as to become an awardee of ethical practice. And that's partly what contributed to her being able to dress up the first lady. We also have Mary Mwenyere, who runs a financial services company, Aircloth. So again, so they're in very different sectors.
Well, I think
and it's good news for Kenya. There is hope for Kenya that there are people running different industries and doing things the right way.
Fine. Now let's go to the other side, the side of the youth. What are you promising them?
Sure. One of the things they will get, of course, in addition to the inspiration that they will get for that day, is that, as I said, each one of them will go away with a manual on leadership. We have redefined leadership. Maybe very briefly, I could use the acrostic leader to specify that. L for living right. E, being educated the right way. That education is more than just the grades. It's actually being prepared for life, like I said earlier. A, for adaptability to different situations. We are dealing with issues of ethnicity. We also want to deal with the question of being responsible citizens as part of adapting to society. D, for developing a value system. Boundaries. What will you do or not do? E, for earning right. That you can have, a work ethic and be able to be effective as a steward of your talent and gifts wherever you go, and to add value to society. And finally, R, for the area of relationships and relaxation, because this is where many young people get caught. Maybe during the holidays, they get introduced by friends to drugs or pornography or something, and some of the things that damage their long-term potential, or the issues, of course, of also wholesomeness in relationships, that they just don't look short-term, but how can they have relationships that, of course, benefit them?
In other words, you're saying the attendants will come out their readers.
We believe that as they come out, each one of them will be well prepared for life, to impact their spheres of life in the long term. But
you're supposed to do something else before for all year.
Yes, so this is why now they work with a mentor. Because many people, we know that we all have had different backgrounds. Some of them have made mistakes. We are not going to condemn anybody. We want them to have a trusted mentor, an adult, who will work with them to take them to the future. So this is one of the benefits they can hope to get, is the whole idea that they will have someone to work with. And I think that's very, very important today when the young people don't necessarily have a parent or somebody that they can talk to. We are going to promise each one of them will have a trusted adult whom we are vetting very carefully and are equipping them, preparing them to be good mentors.
Those are the ones we're talking about, the 300 to 600.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, so just every mentor will work with about 5 to 10, depending on the context, and meet, of course, as often as the restrictions allow. Those in boarding schools, of course, there may be restriction, but those in the communities or in the context of their faith communities or the churches and other places, then, of course, you can meet more regularly.
The long-term objective is year. What do you mean by year?
That's good. It's 3,000. For now, it's 3,000 years. Years stands for young ethical leaders. But really, ethical leaders. But, but as I said, our hope is that to multiply that to about 30,000, over the course of the 1 year. That 30,000, again, if they reach out to another 10, you can see they can become 300,000. In just a 4 years' time, you can have actually 3 million young people who think differently. We believe that begins now to impact our society significantly.
Let's go back to education.
Yes.
How do you think this year is going to impact on what's happening in the schools?
Oh, certainly the banning of schools, all those things we hope will be history. We hope we'll have prefects and other young people who want to have the right value system, who are not, because nowadays I hear even young prefects are corrupted. They can be paid bribes to not record the wrong people who came to class.
Yeah.
So there are many ways that this will impact the education system. The whole question of work ethics, so the cheating of exams. We know that the CS for education has been working very hard. We support him, but we believe that we need to add a value system as a component to improve on the young people being motivated to do this.
As we kind of wind down, please give us the contact. If this person watching us, how
Sure.
does he reach you?
Thank
How
you.
does he receive executive leadership and the name and most what he can be able to participate?
Thank you very much. The host organization, we are working with many other partners, and I want to give credit to them because they worked very hard. But the host organization is ELNET Kenya. So if one is able to just even go to the website, www.elnetkenya, elnetkenya.org, we'll be able to get all the details there. But I can give us our contact number. It's 0731 032 040.
Repeat it.
I can repeat it, 0731 032 040. If you call that number, it's one of our helplines. You'll be able to get the details that you need on email. We can be reached at nimeamua, as in Swahili word, at elnetkenya.org. Nimeamua at elnetkenya.org. You'll be able to get in contact with us. We hope look forward to other partners also coming on board, because we believe that there are many other people who care about our education sector and the youth of this country who want to make a contribution. So if there's any way we can partner together, we are more than excited to do this. We want to thank Elimu TV for making this opportunity possible to be able to share this. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir.
Okay.
I'm sure Nimeamua will succeed.
Thank
you
you.
have so many 3,000
Thank you. Thank you.
Viewer, that brings us to the end of this show. We strongly believe that this will be a success and we'll have young ethical readers. Thank you very much. Keep watching. Watch and learn.